Hello there, welcome back to my channel. It's James here. I hope you're doing okay. I know it's been a while, it's been a few weeks, maybe more, I think. I was away. I don't even know if I posted it. I don't know. It's been a little while, but I'm back. I'm back in the same spot as usual. Please ignore everything that, it doesn't usually look great, but please ignore in particular what's happening back here. This space throughout the whole lockdown period has kind of been my home studio, so I've had to push things to the side and I just didn't put it back this time. So I wanted to do a little bit of just not super educational video. We're just going to talk about some of the things I'm propagating. I guess I can give some tips along the way, but I'm just kind of going to show you what's happening here. This isn't everything. This is basically everything that I saw when I looked around. There are a couple of other things in like weird places. There are some things propagating out in the greenhouse outside, which has actually been amazing. So I will possibly do a video on the outdoor greenhouse before it gets really cold, because it's starting to reach that time, sadly, when outdoors is probably not going to be an option for a lot of these aroids for much longer. Some of them will stay out like for a good bit longer, I'm sure. But yeah, we're just going to talk through some of the things and no rush. Okay, so let's just do these little clumps first of all. So I have three sort of basically entire plants that I cut up recently. Very, very beautiful philodendron. Let's take one out of here. None of these are going to be particularly well rooted because I literally cut this like 2 or 3 days ago, I think. Where's the thing? There's the thing. So yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful philodendron, and this is one of those ones that as it matures gets like super, super cool leaves. They kind of elongate like a melanochrysum and they have that silver splash on, super, super stunning. But you don't really see them around very much in the mature form. Plant I've had for a little bit now, and it kind of just grew extremely leggy. I had it on a moss pole and it was kind of attached to a lot of the moss pole, but it was, I think, not getting enough humidity. In my opinion, this is quite a humidity dependent philodendron, and if you can't give it that really, really high humidity, then a lot of the leaves seem, in my experience anyway, to come out like a little bit warped like that. So there are quite a few that have some sort of like discoloration or weird like that. I'm getting everything, yeah, so it's a little bit dodgy. So if you do have it, this is kind of why I've cut it back. I'm gonna root these. Obviously I might give or sell some of them away or swap them or whatever. I'm not actually sure how available this is. For a while it was kind of around everywhere and I haven't seen it as much recently. But yeah, I will perhaps sell some. And then I'm going to put a couple of them together to make a small plant for myself and just try and grow it inside my grow tent and see if I can encourage a little bit more root attachment and a little bit bigger leaves. That would be nice. So yeah, this is a nice one. Next one is a very similar story. So this one is half of my Soleroy ornatum plant, which is a hybrid of philodendron Soleroy, which is a very splashy, beautiful silvery philodendron, and philodendron ornatum, which is like a massive, massive, really, really beautiful textured philodendron. Yeah, I saw there are a couple of really beautiful ones at Kew, I think. So if you're ever around there, have a look in the Princess of Wales Conservatory, really beautiful. So this is kind of a similar story to that brandy, in that it just kind of wasn't getting exactly what it wanted. I had it not even in my plant room, I had it kind of just sat on a windowsill, and it was getting good light, but I was not watering it enough perhaps because it was in a terracotta pot, and it was definitely not in, it was in very low humidity, like probably the lowest in the house. So it kept growing, but again, hello water, a lot of this leaf warpage as they came out like that. But it's still a very, very beautiful philodendron. So I'm literally going to do the same thing with this. I'm going to root it up, potentially sell some of them, give some of them away, and then, ooh, it's already rooting. That's really nice. And then I will, that's super fast. Wow, that's literally only been there for like, this is the magic of that grow tent, by the way. The grow tent, I'm going to do another video on it, but it has absolutely revolutionized some of the plants I've been growing. It is incredible. Like, I know I did a little tour a while ago, but I'll probably do another little grow tent tour in a month or so. And I've tried not to move things as much as possible, so I've tried to keep more or less the same plants in there. It's actually getting super overcrowded, more than it was before. But I want to show you how much things have grown because it's just amazing. Yeah, this is a really beautiful one, and I think that the super cool thing about this is the size that they could possibly get to. So I really want to give them an environment where I can get some larger leaves before the growing season next year. So this will be like an overwinter thing, I'm sure, for a lot of these. Yeah, here we go. And this is, again, altogether about half of one of my Philodendron gigas plants, gigas, I never know how to say that, that I cut up literally today. So this one is, I don't know, let's just show this one because it's the tip cutting. Very, very nice big leaves. This is actually the smaller of the two. I think I spoke about this in a video, I can't remember, but I had two Philodendron gigas that were well rooted and sort of growing, and I was like, I'm going to stick one in my grow tent, I'm going to keep one outside, and I'm going to compare the growth rate of them. But the one outside just kind of stopped growing, even though it was in good light. I don't know what happened. But there was no root rot because I dug up the base of it this morning as well and had a look, and it was fine. But this is kind of the top, maybe not half, maybe like 2/3 of the plant. So it had done a good amount of growing and then it kind of just stopped. So I'm rooting these up, and again, I will see what I do with them once they're rooted. There are some really, really nice big leaves, I mean, and some okay roots still from where they attached, but very, very nice. The one in my grow tent, again, is just ridiculous. I'll show you at some point. Really, really beautiful. So yeah, this is another lovely philodendron. I would say it's not exactly fussy, but it doesn't enjoy lower humidity. Either you have to be very, very on top of your watering. I think that's where something like leca is helpful because you don't have to be so focused and on top of how much you water. You can kind of just let them go. But I've noticed that this one kind of buckles like the melanochrysum sometimes when you don't water it as much as it needs. Not as much as the Milano. The Milano is a fussy one, but yeah, beautiful philodendron. If you haven't got it already, it's not exactly uncommon. I've seen them quite a lot, but it's certainly not as easy to find as a melanochrysum, and yet it is just incredible. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about this little perlite. No, let's just do all the water ones. Why not have some vague form of structure in this video? So another little kind of collection pot. This one has various things, well, only two different types of things in here. It's got some of my MONSTERA, my variegated MONSTERA PERU, which is lovely. It's a very, very beautiful crocodile-y skin. It's got some amazing variegation as well. This is sort of in its greeny phase because it's a relatively young leaf on the plant, but if I give this a couple of months, and that will be like a yellow cream, which is super, super beautiful and contrasted. And then it's actually got a growth point there as well. I don't know if you can see. Oh, no, you can't because I don't know how to show things to the camera. There we go. There we go. And then I've got a little one from the same plant, which is the very, very, it was actually a leaf that emerged on another cutting that I was rooting. So it's very like kind of wonky and a little bit deformed, and doesn't have, it's obviously a little bit lacking in certain nutrients, but there's some good variegation there. There are some decent little roots. So I'll probably pop both of these. I've sold a few of these, but I'll probably pot both of these up with my other one because I want to get some nice growth. And this one is an interesting little guy. This is a philodendron, is it MAGNUM, I think? These ones that are from Equigenera, so you're not 100% sure on the ID. I think there's been some debate about what it actually is, but it's a very nice one. And this was just, the plant that I got of this had two growth points, so I just snipped one off and left the main plant and then just had this one rooting separately. And it is doing pretty nicely. It's kind of got red petioles, a little bit of like a hairy petiole, which is nice, and some lovely little leaves, although it probably will need potting up soon because the leaves are getting smaller and smaller, which means they don't have enough nutrients. So yeah, last two water ones. This let's show you this one first. So I've shown you this caramel marble cutting before. I think it's a very sad situation. Oh, actually, oh, I say that it hasn't rooted for like months, but I think I might be just seeing a little bit of root fuzz at the moment there, which is very good news. So this is a caramel marble which I cut a while ago. It's getting a little bit floppy because it's not been rooting for ages. This is the difficult thing about variegated plants, which are kind of heavily variegated, which this one is, but also plants which have very, very close internodes, very, very small internodal spaces, sorry. Yeah, it's just, you're never guaranteed a root with these ones. They tend to kind of, it's a little bit difficult to make sure they root. Long speak thing, James. In here with it are two Philodendron PLOWMANI cuttings. This one, they're very, very nasty, not happy leaves that happened on the plant before I cut it. that I think both of these were on the plant when it arrived. They kind of melted for some reason, but this one is rooting nicely. I actually need to move this on to some other medium. This has been in here way too long, but it's got some nice little leaves here. And the second one is not shooting yet, but it's got decent roots as well, so I'll probably keep that in here for a little bit longer. And yeah, the caramel marble can go back in there. Water, I think I've spoken about this before. I'm so excited that it might be rooting. I've spoken about this before, but water is the medium that you normally use to generate root growth. I do also use perlite and leca sometimes just to get the roots going, but then I always transfer to either perlite, leca, sphagnum. Once there's a small, sort of decent root system, maybe a little bit of growth happening, just so that the roots can kind of get a little bit more established. And this is also caramel marble, but this is slightly better news. It's from exactly the same plant. It's the growing tip there, and oh, it's actually opening currently, which is great. But you can see there are a couple of little roots out the side, so I'm confident that this one will survive, which is good news because I do not want to lose both of them. This needs new water. Wow. This is the other issue of the grow tin. Because the light is so bright and continuous, things get algae ridden very, very fast. Okay, we have 4 more things to show. This is like a random one that I picked up. I still have a couple of these going, but they're just about started growing. This is a tiny, tiny philodendron MARX fantasy. Yeah, I think I showed these in a previous propagation video, but I cut 4 or 5 just stem sections with nodes on them, and I've been rooting them in various media. I had them in water, and then I had them in perlite, and then I had them in sphagnum, and then I had them back in perlite. I don't know, it's been a long, long journey. This is one that I rooted in my greenhouse, and then I transferred into the grow tent in perlite. And some people criticize this, but I think it's really, really good. It's like leca. It's a really, really good way to get roots growing fast and get an established root system, and then you can transfer it onto your medium of choice. I'm not personally a huge fan of semi-hydroponics, of passive hydro for long-term growth, but I haven't really experimented with that a huge amount yet. So I understand that people get amazing results. I'm just a little bit dubious about long-term. So please feel free to share your experiences down in the comment and convert me to passive hydroponics. Okay, we have 3 more to go. Speaking of passive hydroponics, we've got Philodendron Florida Beauty here, which is actually a really, really nice success story. This is the tip cutting of my mother plant, which got really, really nice and big, and then I cut it back and had, I think, 4 or 5 cuttings to share around. Yeah, this is the last one that I have left, as well as the mother plant, but it's got lovely variegation there. It's got a really nice little growth point there. You can tell that I don't know if you can see that actually, the previous leaf in there rotted inside the cataphyll, but there is a new one coming through, and the roots are already reaching the sides of the pot. So like I said, I'm really a fan of leca for stimulating really, really quick root growth. So once this is rooted, I don't know, I might stay here for a long time. I might be eating my words, but I just cover up that root because I don't want it to dry in this lower humidity. This has also been in my grow tent, just stacking leca balls on top of the roots. Yeah, I love this plant. Love this plant. It's quite a popular one at the moment, I think. Thank God I got it just before the prices really went bonkers. Last 2 here. This is a cute little ANTHURIUM REGALE. I think I showed these also in a video. I had a couple of node cuttings, and both of them are growing very nicely. So this is one of them. Teeny tiny baby regale. So cute. Some people say regale. That seems not right. I don't know. I might be completely wrong. I think it's regale. Please also feel free to correct me down below. I would appreciate it very much. Yeah, so this is just in sphagnum because I rooted the whole thing in sphagnum. I just stuck the node in sphagnum and it stayed there. It actually needs a little bit of water. But yeah, very nice. And last but not least, this is so exciting. I had to have it. Basically, this is all just an excuse to talk about this one. This is in this little Tupperware thing, a beautiful, beautiful little node that I got from one of my plant acquaintances in London. And it is none other than the infamous MONSTERA obliqua Peruvian form. Just a teeny little node. Nothing much at the moment. You literally can't see it because it's focusing on my face. Hopefully it kind of does something. Let's hide. Yeah, beautiful. It's got a little shoot and a little root. and that is all we need. Very nice. I have it in here inside my grow tent, so it's getting super high humidity and very, very nice light just to get it sort of going on its way. Yeah, of all the kind of unicorn plants, the obliqua sort of has been the least one that I've been least sort of drawn to, but yeah, I really love it now that I've got it. It hasn't even grown, but I like have attached to it. No more than other plants though, so it's kind of, we're in a weird situation I think in the plant community where it's kind of difficult as a, how to say this, my focus and my interest at the moment is kind of on the unusual and beautiful aroids, and it is really just about aesthetics, which, I mean, it's very interesting learning about the biology and the growth behaviors and interactions and stuff of all these plants, but when it really gets down to it, I love the look of these plants, which is why I collect them. And at the moment, that aesthetic is very closely intertwined with a high price tag, and there are ways around it. Like, if I don't know if it's interesting to people, but I have ways of getting around that, like making friendships, trading things. Like, there are ways to get valuable plants if you don't have a huge amount of money to spend, because I really don't. Like, a lot of the plants that I have are traded, like particularly the rare ones, the unicorns. They're things that I've swapped for and just found ways to kind of bring into my collection without spending those crazy amounts of money. Not that it's a problem to spend the money if you have it. If I had the money, I would chuck it at all the plants. But yeah, it definitely is an issue, and there are all sorts of problems happening in the plant community at the moment, and I think it's really important to remember that we are here basically just for plants. And it seems weird to even have to say that, but we're kind of, that everything does blend together, and that's kind of where we're at, I think. Like, humans are humans, and even though we have interests in common, there are differences in other parts of our lives, so we kind of have to just find a way to coexist on this bizarre little platform that we've created. Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. This is not meant to become like a chat, but yeah, I'll stop it there. But it's all very interesting. So I will possibly do another video about that when I've had a chance to really collect my thoughts and not just ramble on like an idiot. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. This is the end of my propagation video. Those are just some of the things that I've been working on. Not that I've done anything, I've just let them do their thing at the moment. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, stick them down in the comments below. If you have any stories to share, any techniques for propagating, please let me know. And I will, yeah, see you very soon. Check out my Instagram at SlugPlants if you want to see updates on my plants. Subscribe to this channel. Do the thumbs up thing or the thumbs down if you didn't like it, and I will see you very soon. Goodbye.